Hello and welcome back to Soul Spa University, where your souls can run free and your minds are free to expand. Essentially, adult Disneyland. Have you ever been fascinated by something that was supposed to be small, but it was big? Or supposed to be big, but it's small? I know I have. And that is exactly what we'll be showing you the phenomenon of today. Here with us today is size expert extraordinaire Tommy Buckhurst. And in the meantime, please don't forget to like and subscribe to support this educational and fascinating content, as well as be the first to share with your friends and spread the phenomenon. All right, Tommy, thank you so much for coming today and sharing with us the news on this fascinating topic. I know that I've always been fascinated by, maybe a mouse that's supposed to be this big, but this big, or, imagine like, a miniature version or something. I'm so fascinated, and I have my own stories when you're done, educating us, including a very post-traumatic stress disorder due to Abercrombie's moose. But anyway, yeah, I cannot wait to hear about this. I'm so fascinated. Thank you for coming.
No problem. Size expert. I think I'm going to use that one. So, hey everyone. Have you ever thought like, hey, why the hell is that bug so big? Or why is that mouse trampling that car? Well, this has been actually an ongoing scientific study for many years.
Well, first, why don't we first check and make sure you're not on acid, and then address this? Go ahead.
Oh, well, all right. So I may have been exaggerating about the bug. So,
well, because if you see a mouse trampling a car, it's like, first make sure like you didn't get drugged, and then go ahead.
And you realize it's a mouse trampling a car. What's happening in this world?
I know. I'm curious. I can't wait to hear about this, Mickey Mouse.
So, like I said, they've been studying this for many years, and people are just like, what the hell? Why is this little thing so big or anything like that? So, first of all, they went back to the prehistoric era, and they were studying little things like insects. Now, insects, they take in oxygen through their exoskeleton, and because the oxygen is not as thick and like heavy, they stay relatively small. This is one of the things. Bear with me. Back in the prehistoric era, everything was thick. So they had a little dragonfly, tiny little things, as big as an eagle.
Okay, this is what I want to hear. Thank you. What?
Yeah, as big as a freaking eagle. Because first of all, it's not only the fact that the environment was so oxygen thick, it was also the environment. Tiny little bug like that's not going to survive much. It needs to have some kind of a chance. So one of the theories is the environmental factors. So it needs to be big to actually have a fighting chance. So that's why they were so big back then.
But why does it need to be big now?
It doesn't need to be big now because its predators aren't as big. They're still pretty big, and dragonflies aren't small, but they're fast, but they're not as big now because of the previous statement that the oxygen is not as thick as it was, which can also be attested to us because of all the chemicals we put in the air.
Wow, so we've thinned the oxygen, which is making things smaller?
Yes.
What?
Yep. We are part of the environmental problem.
So are we shrinking? Because I thought we got bigger.
We are getting bigger because we are well fed. We have good medical advancements, all these things. Like if you look at humans, 50 years ago,
Mhm.
like 5'8" was considered a giant.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yes, that's what I thought too. Although there was somebody who wanted to be on the show, so I should get to him, about the Nephilims or something, and I think they were giants. So in that regard, if we're from them, we got smaller, like the dragonflies.
are those the people that live on the ground?
I'm not sure. I should probably have them on and find out.
Yeah, you probably should. That's something that seems very interesting.
Well, I did.
So,
That.
all right.
Okay. Anyway.
So excuse me. So not only that, there were other, other animals and everything, the dinosaurs, of course, but the dinosaurs, their whole setup was, hey, there are some big predators here, and they just started. When more than 50% of the population is a predator, you have to. Nature's going to make you have a chance. So they got bigger, but then the predators got bigger. So then they got bigger, and it kept going like that until a big rock fell from the sky. So theirs was crazy because dinosaurs, you can't really support that much weight. It's difficult. So they genetically started making started having like air sacs throughout their body that can support their weight. I never knew that.
Dinosaurs?
Yeah,
Wow.
I never knew that before. And I was like, what? Really? And like that long neck freaking dinosaur had air sacs throughout its whole entire neck. Apparently his neck was light as hell.
Okay, so I have a question. I'm sorry,
Yes.
still talking? Go ahead.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Remember you told me that sloths were really big back then?
Yes.
Now you're telling me that sloths were alive with the dinosaurs.
No. The sloths were alive with the saber-toothed tigers and the mammoths, woolly mammoths. The Ice Age, basically, around the Ice Age-ish. I
Okay.
guess there must have been a few sloths, dinosaur-wise, maybe towards the end. But
I'm wondering if anything survived from the dinosaurs ages.
the cockroach and apparently the alligator.
Are you sure?
And of course, Loch Ness Monster. So forgot about that.
All right, we're being serious right now, so.
Cockroach, yes. The cockroach can survive anything. That thing is endless.
We can stop saying that. But now tell me, are you saying, you told me once that everything was bigger back then? Is that true?
Yeah, everything was bigger back then.
So that's what we're talking about. Let's talk about it, unless you have more information.
Oh, I have a bunch of different things.
Oh, okay, yes.
So today wise, well, not today wise, back in 1885, Edward Culp's, this was also one of his things that popped in his head, and he's like, why is this so small here and blah, 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 bear? So he went to
former lifetime.
so he went to an island, and basically he said that on islands, because islands is basically a nice little ecosystem separated from, they had mice and rats that were just size of like small dogs, and birds that were huge, and all kinds of different little.
Wait,
And
mice and rats, size of small dogs on an island.
Yep. When you go to an island, you'll find that rats are much, much bigger than you would find them anywhere else.
Is existing right now, mice
Yeah.
and rats the size of dogs?
Well, not the size of dog, but like half muffin.
All right, so that's a normal size.
No, that's pretty big.
No,
pretty big.
have you heard about the rats in the city?
I work in the city. I've seen rats. I think
Okay.
one of them actually waved at me once.
Realize.
I got mugged by one once.
Exactly. So how do you not know that? Like that's
But
normal.
they're still smaller than ones on islands because they have so much to compete with.
But half a muffin is The ones in the city.
It's huge. Do you see Muffin? Yeah, she's huge.
But
So
you're
half a muffin's pretty
not
big.
right about that. Okay, Muffin Guys is a doxy poo. She's literally 15 pounds. So you're saying a 7-pound rat is like the biggest it gets? That's like not.
That's big. Rats in New York are ounce. Well, maybe
Are
a
you
pound.
kidding? That's how much
Maybe
they
a
have in the
pound.
city is like 7
Yeah,
pounds.
rats. They all have hollow bones and stuff. So, well, unless that's mice only. I think it's also rats. So
All
they're
right, whatever. Anyway,
whatever.
on this island, I want to get impressed. Am I impressed with a mouse that's half the size of Muffin? Is the mouse a half the size of Muffin?
No, it's the rats are bigger.
Okay, so basically nothing's impressing me on this island. The island's the same as here. Are we on this
Yeah.
island right now?
No, it's not. It's not. It's still pretty big. It's still pretty big. So this guy's thing was that his whole entire theory was on islands, animals will tend to be either smaller or larger, but it intersects and depends on their environment. Anyway, this guy was proven to be wrong, very wrong, and it took a long time for anybody to prove him wrong because that was in 1885, and in 1964, a biologist named J. Foster was kind of inspecting the same thing. He's like, no, it's not just this and that. Like the predators aren't small and the prey are big. It just doesn't make sense. Why did everybody follow this? It's dumb. So he invented something called the insular species or island animals, whatever. And he found that because the environment's so much smaller, there's so much more competitiveness. And because they're islands, there are a lot less of us in affecting these animals.
So that he confirmed that he was right, that the former guy was right.
No, it's that the other guy was wrong. The other guy was like, oh, yeah, no, the other guy was like, for some reason, saying like all the predatory animals would be small or large. He didn't specify anything. He just said, if this and that.
Yeah.
He just threw out stupid things. But this guy's like, no. Everything is larger because they're competing with one another.
Yeah, larger. So he was half right.
He was half right.
What was the first guy's reasoning?
It was 1886, and he was a fool. That was his reasoning.
Tell me his reasoning. Tell me why he thought this.
He thought this because of all the limited resources that he could have to actually go to these islands and put this and that. He saw certain animals that are normally large or whatever, and that was his hypothesis that, hey,
okay,
they can go either way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's not really right.
Maybe he did he report that he saw something smaller that was supposed to be bigger? I mean, it could have just been a young version, but
it was stupid things like birds. It's like, okay, so what?
Well,
so
we're talking about animals that are different size than they're supposed to be, so that's what's so what. But I don't know, it could have been a younger version of a bird that he saw, or maybe he did. But anyway, back to the second guy. So the second guy is saying no, larger. Okay.
So he actually went to like the Galapagos Islands and all that stuff. And he's like, look at these freaking animals. Like, it's insane. They're all competing with one another. And there's a very minimal, and that was the main thing. That was the absolute thing. He's like, the resources and the elemental factors are the reasonings for all these gigantic animals. If you set up an island where no man touches, no human gets near, our garbage doesn't get to them and all that stuff, you're gonna find some big animals after a few 100 years.
Wow. Okay, so do you have any examples of, whether it be now or in the past or in the future, about, an animal that is dramatically a different size than it, that we're used to?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few. Let's see here. The biggest one in the world, the blue whale, was not always the biggest one in the world. It was actually pretty small. Right now, the blue whale, like I said, is the biggest animal. It's at where's that damn thing? It's 100 feet. Oh wait, and it weighs 198 tons. So that's crazy. That's today.
That's a whale, and we're used to that.
Yeah, but it was never that. It was small. It was back in the day. It was small because it was at some point it was some kind of land animal, and it was like crap. I'm not doing so well in this land, and I'm getting heavy. So
Wait,
it jumped in the water.
it was in the land?
This is a hypothesis. It was probably because it was a mammal, and because it breathes air, it was some kind of land creature, made its way into the ocean for resources, which is the food, and because of the buoyancy of the water keeps it, it's a lot easier for them to move around. And then time moved on, developed the tail, all that stuff, evolution.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
But because it got into the ocean and there wasn't really anything so crazy for it to eat, it was small. It was less than half the size it is today.
Oh my God. I think fruit has gotten bigger.
Fruit? Probably because so anyway, that's one example of something that was crazy small. I mean, there's a bunch of different animals now today, like the Goliath beetle. Beetle. You've seen beetles.
I better be impressed by this beetle because I don't really care about
This
it.
damn thing's 5 inches big. 5 inches
Oh,
for
you're
a
kidding.
beetle.
I am impressed. I'm
Right?
impressed with 5 inches.
The China. Don't eat the banana after you say that. Put that damn thing out of camera. All right. The Chinese salamander. This thing is 6 feet long. It weighs 133 pounds.
Oh my God. I think I've seen that. I think I've seen a video of that, and people are like, what is that? It was like climbing up a wall. How big is it?
6 feet.
Yeah, it was like climbing up a store wall. And people were like, what is that? Is it black?
It's a water animal, so I don't think so. I mean, it could go on land. It's a salamander.
It looks
But
like a salamander, right?
like greenish. It's like greenish, yeah.
But it looks like a salamander. Like,
Yeah, its face looks like an old man.
I don't look at its face, but there's literally video of like a giant salamander climbing up a wall. And you said it was how big? You said
6 feet.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
thing was big. It was big. I mean, actually, I don't know if it was 6 feet, but it was like at least 4 or 5 feet. I gotta ask my
It could have been a baby. Who knows?
Oh my God, that's crazy. So, okay, so Chinese salamander is 6 feet long. And how that's
133 pounds. It's big. It's a big boy.
oh my God. And they're on land?
They can go on land. Yeah, they're salamanders. They can walk on land.
Yeah.
But they mainly stay in the water.
It seems like a desert animal.
There are salamanders. Well, I mean, they're lizards, I guess. Salamanders are mainly water based,
Um,
but it's a big one. There's a bunch of others.
Okay.
Whale shark. Whale sharks. The giant whale, the giant thing that I don't know why they call it a shark, but it doesn't eat meat. It just eats plankton. It just does what whales do. Well, I guess it doesn't breathe air. That's why it doesn't. It's called a whale shark.
A whale shark.
Yeah.
Bigger than normal.
40 feet.
Mm.
Yeah, it's big. 24 tons. It's pretty huge, but it's not a whale, so it's not a mammal. I don't think.
All right, keep going.
The colossal squid, which is nuts.
How big?
Up to 90 feet.
Mm. I've never seen that.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, all those like what was that, 50,000 Leagues Under the Sea or 20,000 Leagues, whatever the hell that damn book is called, is about a giant squid attacking a submarine.
Nine.
But up until recently, a lot of people didn't actually, like, there was no real proof of it. Like sailors would say they saw something here and there, blah, blah, blah. But up until like not too long ago, there wasn't real proof of it. But they actually found them and everything. And they're big, they're huge, they're scary as hell because they're squids. They're predators.
Really? Oh my God. What else?
What else? The Galapagos giant turtle. This
Okay.
one's not. All right. This one can grow up to 5 feet tall
Mhm.
and can live up to, the oldest that they found that they had so far is 152 years old.
Um,
So that one is actually kind of cool. I mean, there's also other stuff out there, probably,
I can't
they're
believe this.
usual.
I can't believe it. Wait a sec. Is 5 feet tall? Like on all fours, it's 5 feet tall?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about this.
On the Galapagos Island.
The dinosaur nowadays, alive, but nobody's talking about it.
But it's cool. It's a chill dinosaur that's like, please leave me alone. Stop riding me on my shelf.
That's like, though, like nobody talks about a rhinoceros. That's a dinosaur. Don't they see? Saurus is in the name. Rhinoceros.
Yes.
Saurus is in the name. And it has a horn.
Does have a horn. Well, not many.
No, that's a dinosaur.
But these are like some of the small things that live. I mean, then you get the like mythological, like Bigfoot. What is the?
But like even like look at the damn rhino. I'm sorry, I'm still on the rhino. That is the unicorn of dinosaurs, speaking of mythological, and nobody's talking about. I mean, look at that giraffe. Look at that giraffe.
Well, giraffes are stupid. Let's face facts. Giraffes are dumb.
Oh my God.
It's like, do you really need that neck? There's grass on the floor. Stop being an idiot. And its black tongue is weird too.
Oh, I am eating.
It shouldn't be. Professionalism. Christ, Christina, professionalism.
All right. Well, all right. I'm trying to think. Oh my God, what was I going to tell? Okay, so I don't know. I think I told you this. When I was little, I grew up. It wasn't until age maybe 7 or 8 that I thought that it was just very normal to me that like eagles were the size of like buildings. Because I watched that Feifel, and I guess he had that, and I don't remember any of the movie, but I guess he must have had this bird friend that compared to his little mouse self was the size of like a fucking building or something. So I literally like was like mentioned it one day to somebody and they were like, what? And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean you don't know? I was like, what do you mean you don't know that, eagles are like the size of houses and stuff, They were like, no. Except I think one person finally was like, maybe in the desert. And I was like, yeah, in the desert. And then it took me another 5 years for somebody to be like, no. It would just never be more than like this many feet, like even in the desert. Like that, it'll be bigger in the desert, but that's it. And it won't be like that. And I'm like, really? Another one of my stories is speaking of like former lifetimes or like I knew something was more than me when all of a sudden you have this like irrational fear that like takes over your entire body and it's so unexpected you don't know where it came from because it didn't happen to you in your life. So I must have been like a late teen or in my 20s and I'm in Abercrombie, and for some reason all of a sudden I was like could not go in that room with that gigantic moose. In Abercrombie, they have that gigantic moose head over the register. And like, I was like flabbergasted with like what was going on in me. Do you know what I'm saying? I was like flabbergasted with the effect it had on me because I'm literally laughing at myself because I don't know what the hell's going on, that I'm like, I would look in and be just, my whole being would be under such trauma from like I couldn't even look at like a corner of like, I felt like a little kid terrified of a clown because I used to be terrified of clowns, but I couldn't even look at like the corner of it's like, and I like mooses. I think they're cute. I just, the enormity of it really got me. And I just knew, I don't think I was even into anything with this field at that point. I didn't know this, there was this field to be into or something. And I just knew at that moment, like, oh my God, this is from a former lifetime or something. Cause I was just so engulfed with it and don't know where it came from. I mean, I don't remember getting in an altercation with a moose. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, now that I'm a little more like evolved, maybe the word genealogy comes to mind, where it's like from my like ancestors' blood that had to outrun them or something. I don't really know, but like, you know, so that's interesting.
Well, mooses are, they're frightening. They are big animals, man. They're scary as hell. Yeah, no, I mean, it's
Yeah,
understandable to be afraid of like
cute.
things like that. I've always got the like one of the last things on my giganticism. I think I forget to talk about is humans. We have it too. In fact, I might be considered one.
Yeah.
So it happens in people because, for the most part, is a tumor that would be in the pituitary gland as a child, and it just keeps pumping out the hey, keep growing gene. And they do tests if like your parents want to do that. Like if there's something off, you can tell. It's like a 4-year-old who's like 5 foot. It's like, oh, okay, something's up. They have tests for it. My parents never took me for a test. They just always assumed I was some kind of wild animal. So they would constantly be like, take me to the woods and be like, yeah, you go back with your kind. We don't need you no more. And I'm like, Dad, I'm your son. It's like the movie Harry and the Henry. It's like, you go back. You go back now. So this happened through my life. And then one day, like my birthday, it's like 10 years old, and they're like, "Oh, we got a surprise for you. We got a surprise." And I'm like, "Oh my God, we're going to Chuck E. Cheese." I've never been to Chuck E. Cheese. And so I was like, "Oh man, it's gonna be amazing, Chuck E.
You're,
Cheese." So he's like, "All
you're
right."
lactose intolerant.
Well, that's up until recently. I wasn't lactose intolerant back then.
Okay.
So he blindfolded me, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm going to Chuck E. Cheese."
And you were
So
like 18?
no, I was 10. I was 10.
Okay.
So he gets out and he's like, "You can take your blindfold off now." Take my blindfold off, and he's sitting there holding like a live salmon. He's like, "Here, this is what you people eat. You got to go back." I'm like, "Dad, I'm not a damn Yeti. I'm a human boy. I'm your son." He's like, "You eat it. You don't want cake. This is what you eat."
Wait,
So
so you're,
yeah, that was my childhood because I was very large. I was always a tall kid.
anyway, is this a disorder? Because I don't think it's a disorder. Do you?
Yes, it could be a disorder because of there's uh, the tumor in the gland does that. There's also other disorders that actually can create giantism. There's gigantism, whatever you want to call it. There are treatments if when they do an MRI to see if it's that, or they take blood tests to see if it's one of those little like diseases that happen. Um, they can do surgery if it's a tumor, have it removed. They can do chemo to shrink it, and they can also do medications to help fight it off. It doesn't do it.
Is it really something to fight off? By the way, just look before I adjust real quick. I happen to look a little smaller than I should be for some reason. It's because my couch has no support. Hang on. But anyway, is it really something to fight off? What's wrong with like,
Yeah, of course. Because do you ever see a giant? They don't.
Yeah,
have
you.
the best life. Yeah, I know. We don't have the best life.
Why? You have probably better air quality.
No, because everything hurts because you're keeping up weight. The bones are bigger. Everything's bigger.
Oh, cry us rivers. Okay, think about women and how we have to counteract the front.
Okay, not all women.
So what is the problem? I don't get it.
It's the bone. It's all the weight on the bones. The joints aren't supposed to be that big. Um, and it's not just oh they're tall. Uh, because the thing hits the pituitary gland, it can literally grow anything. Yeah, you're tall, but you're like your pituitary gland doesn't just do that. It also it monitors growth, of course, uh, your metabolism, your body temperature, your urine production, and your sexual development. So you could literally be feeling 110 degrees for your whole life, just endlessly peeing. So, and this is also with being a giant.
Um, I kind of pee like a cocker spaniel all the time. I
Because you're
wonder.
drinking all the time. Water.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Mhm.
Well, anyway, I wonder, imagine if giganticism happened to cats. I mean, I already feel like cats have no boundaries, you know?
They do.
The
They're
thing
called
would,
lions.
the thing would just be laying on you, all like 500 pounds on it, just laying. Its little tail would flop and it would just like ruin your floor.
That would be a cat that's cool. Most cats are like the worst thing on earth. And imagine if it got pissed at you and decided to swipe at you. So you're talking about lions and tigers and bears. Oh my!
Okay, so that reminds me, bunnies, right? Have you seen the big ones? The big ones. And you
Yes.
want a big one. And really, what I've read about bunnies is that they hate you. Okay. And so basically, like when you come in and there's a big bunny just loose in your house, you're just going to come in with this gigantic marsupial or whatever it is, just breathing and seething you. I mean, imagine, no way. Giant bunny just
Well,
staring at you all the time.
the thing is with the giant bunnies, though, they were created by people. That's not,
Why would we
yeah,
do?
because it's a giant bunny. Why wouldn't you do that?
Okay, I want a mini bunny, mini floppy bunnies. Have you heard anything about these?
Yeah, they're just called bunnies. They're just called rabbits. Who cares?
But what about smaller than normal?
I guess they have minis. They have to. If they have a large bunny, they're gonna have minis.
I watch
But
out because
who
you're about
wants
to
that?
make my dreams come true right now. I'm just letting you know.
Why though? Don't you want a gigantic bunny that doesn't move? It just sits there
No,
eyeing you and wishing you were dead.
no, that is so like more your style. That would go in your apartment, okay? Also, I want these actual size I'm about to show you in my dream yard. Okay, I want a frog that looks exactly like this. I want it to be that size, these sizes. Okay. Um, please tell me they exist.
They do have frogs that small, but they're a bit poisonous. They're a bit.
Stop it. I was prepared that my dreams were not going to come true today. So this is really adult Disneyland right now. What do you mean?
They're very poisonous though.
Well,
They are that small. They are that small, but the reasoning it's nature. It has to balance out.
okay. Okay, I guess. So you're saying anything that cute and small is gonna, you know,
It needs a fighting chance. Yes.
it's gonna be seethingly evil or something. Okay. Hey, well, we hope not. What about these? Have you seen any of these?
No. Thank God, because that would creep me out beyond belief.
What do you mean?
Why? Why would it be? No, no gnomes. I've seen a bum in the city that kind of looks like that.
If you
He's
didn't,
actually a very nice guy.
if you didn't see any gnomes, then I don't know what we're talking about today. I don't know what we're here for. Anyway, thanks for joining us today, guys, at Soul Spy University. Please be sure to check out all of our playlists. And please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that your soul won't miss a beat. I'm very sorry. I know that he's an amazing expert on all of these things. I was not aware he found 0 gnomes today. If I knew that, you know, I don't really know if I'd be apologizing right now. But until next time, guys, you know, have a great, are you okay there, Tommy?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something that made me laugh. It's still making me laugh.
Okay, what?
That my new title is going to be Tommy, the size expert. Is that what you said?
Yes, he's the expert of size. Size expert.
Size expert. Vukel.
Yes, Tom, size expert. Raquel, thank you so much for coming.
Bye, everyone.
Until next time, enjoy the playground of life.